So hello again and welcome to another session where I talk about some of the functionality we get out of the box with Stelo, our app generator for Fiori. And today I'm going to look at data population. So that is how we get information from the SAP system into the Fiori app. And we do this quite simply using a variety of user exits that we make available. So I've started off by defining a little app definition, and so let's take a look at the schema behind that app. So where did I put it? Is it in here? It is indeed. So UM03, and I'm going to take a look at the data schema behind that. So I've just got one subform defined here at the root level, and if I look at the fields inside that subform, I can see I've got 6 fields here: name, department, room number, etc. All sat in that subform. I can see that the email field here is defined as being mandatory. The name, full name, is read-only, and all the rest are defined as being accessible, open for change. So that's the definition in the back end. When I generate the app in the Web IDE, then I get this view. I've made a few simple changes to rearrange things. If I execute this just as it stands, we'll see the layout that I've generated. So here we are, very simple. We've got those 5 different fields, and I've just set different lengths for them, and then the user action down at the bottom there. We've still got a header bar in there that we may remove, and so we're ready to push some information into those fields. From a developer's point of view, it's nice that of course the captions of the fields, the labels are all filled for me. It's quite nice to know what these different fields are called in this view. So I can use this XML view button, and then I can see what's being passed from the SAP system to the app. So at this point I can see that I've got an action field that is empty because that's for sending an action back to the system. I can see I've got this return field that's made up of a bunch of different parameters, a customer code, the app type. This is a template type, which normally we use for language. This is a version number. This is the document ID, and this is the variant. And we use a new variant for each time a document is submitted. So we can reproduce an audit trail, so we snap the data every single time. So here we see this section or subform address and the 6 fields inside that section. And at the moment there is no data being passed through. We can see that we've got the email field, the required is true, so that's being passed through from the back end. So I'll close that down and we'll go back to the user exit for pre-population and load some information into this app. So I'm going to go through to the business logic section and form user exits. So this is the user exit that's going to run when the app is first presented to the initial user. And indeed we've got some configuration options to run this same routine at different logical statuses through the app's journey. So I'll enter the document type here, and then I can go through to this button here, pre-pop user exit. This is a user exit that allows me to fill that data schema with fields. So I've got some sample code down at the bottom, and let's just try a bit of that now. So what we're doing is we're filling this EX data. This is an internal table of the fields that are being passed back to the app. And so we do that by simply reading the table using a field name, so using one of those field names. So let's try the full name, for example, and then putting some value in it. So let's put my name in there, and then modifying the row. And of course we can do some checking here to make sure that this was successful or not. So let's just activate that. And so this is just a single field, and I'm hard coding the data, as we can see. And we'll go back to our app, and we'll just refresh that, see if we can trigger that user exit call. Now, amusingly, the full name field is hidden, so I chose a poor, poor field to illustrate the point. So let's go ahead and unhide it. So I'll do that in the Web IDE, and so we can see how the different fields are pre-populated. So they're bound to the model, and so if I look, for example, at this department field, I can see that the value of that, that's the label, the value of that down here is shown like this. So it's pre-pop model, and then the address, which is the subform of the section, and then the field name. So that's the kind of way we map a field in the app to the model that in turn is filled by the back end. What I'll do is I'll just put that in the header bar at the top. So further up here we go, content middle. Let's add a bit more text. And we'll just copy that bit of pre-population. So here we'll take that department field, put that in there, and then change the field name to full name. And I can save that. Now, of course, what I could have done to check that the data was coming through was simply use this XML view. So even though the field is hidden, I'm expecting to see, here's the full name. I can see that it's that the data has been passed into that field. So if I now refresh that again, I'll hopefully pick up the new header bar and see the change. And there we have the field from the back end being pushed into the model and then into the view. So let me go back to the user exit. And of course, in real life, we don't hard code information like this, but this really illustrates the way we go around filling this internal table. If I put a little breakpoint there, and then go back to the app and again refresh, then I'd hope to hit that breakpoint and be able to see the internal table we're trying to fill. And so I've got the ABAP debugger here, and you can see that it's stopped in the right place. Let me just have a look at the content of this EX data table. we can see it's got some rows in there already. I'll drill into that, see those rows, and here we see in this name field all the different field names and the value that we're going to pass in. The rest of the fields here are actually used for repeating sections and indeed nested repeating sections, so we can handle really complex types of data being passed from one place to another in the same single internal table. For many cases there is no repeating information, and so we just pass it as a name and value pair. So let me carry on through that. We'll now go and make further changes to that user exit. So take away the breakpoint, just remove that bit of code, and let me uncomment this selection. So what we're doing in real life is typically calling an SAP function or BAPI in order to read some information into some export parameters, and then we can read those export parameters and map them to fields in the data structure, into that data schema. So here what I'm doing is looping around the whole internal table, checking the particular field name, and once I get a hit, then I push in the right field that was returned from the BAPI. So this is a common trick here. We're just going to try and, for all the fields we can fill from this BAPI, we'll just loop around the table and push them in. So now all the different fields I should return from the standard SAP BAPI in a fairly simple internal table loop. So this is it's always the same pattern. Call the function or BAPI, map the export parameters to the app fields. So I'll activate that. And then we'll go back to the web IDE and run that again. And there we have it. Here is the app, and all the fields now are being pre-populated from the SAP database with a single BAPI call and mapping the parameters returned by the BAPI to the fields that we define in the data schema, and then within the web IDE we're mapping the physical fields on the view to the fields in the pre-pop model, which of course matches that data schema. Hopefully that's simple enough. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.